I think there's been a lot going on in this event. Frankly, I don't like a lot of what's been going on off the water. I think, frankly, we should just let our actions on the water do the talking. But when you're not invited to the final press conference of the PRADA Cup, which is run by and funded by and won by the PRADA team, I think that's pretty disappointing. I'm not going to say any more about it.
Yeah. So what do you think of that?
This is the Sailing World on Water, February 26, 2021. These are some of the highlights in the sport of sailing globally, in the last 7 days. The PRADA Cup Day 3 action, and INEOS Team UK live to fight another day. For all you traditionalists, here are the beautiful ex-America's Cup 12-meter boats, battling it out in Newport, Rhode Island. They represent an enduring legacy and they will be here in another 100 years. The present era boats will be well gone by then, as we can't see them being passed on to Corinthian sailors for local regattas. Do you? 11th Hour Racing is building their new IMOCA boat, 11-2, in Laurient France, to sail in the next The Ocean race. Charlie Enright takes us through the build. We feature Tom Ehman's report on how Sir Ben reacted to being not asked to the PRADA Cup presentation. All's not happy on the docks in Auckland. The pandemic has kept a lot of the media away, so it's a cakewalk for the teams and organisers. Emirates Team New Zealand are ready for battle and are in race mode, Aussie Glenn Ashby reports. Skipper Pete Burling says he is ready for the Italian challengers, and the topic on all their lips is wind limits. To sail these boats, where regular boats can offer good returns and less than 100% efficiency, with these boats, they have to be on it, or things could go tragically wrong. Just ask the US challengers.
Really excited to get back out there and get back into the racing. The pressure's certainly going to be on them, knowing if they make any mistakes, we're ready to pounce on them.
Don't get closed out. Both teams across the line early.
Penalty GBR, both boats OCS, which is neutralised. Penalty GBR.
Just check the boundary geometry there, Ben ahead.
Okay.
Well, we both ended up starting over the line and we copped a penalty as well. It's quite interesting that we actually got a second one because they deemed we had an advantage, which is interesting to see again.
Here's Spithill complaining about this.
By GBR gained an advantage. You have 10 metres to drop.
It's a tricky one, especially with a course like we had today with the breeze so split. You had to get one side.
Race 6 of the PRADA Cup final. Clean start. Game on.
We kept it close to leeward of them, which is always hard for that boat up to start the starboard end of the line. Got the first crossing, which is what counted.
Yeah, just across.
We have to just follow him here.
No problem.
They hit through the top gate, leading.
We were forced to sail our own race, not wanting to really engage in a really ferocious tacking duel with them. We did a nice job of hurting them when we could, and then gapping off and sailing to the right side when we split away.
INEOS Team UK, and they have stretched the lead. Tension has just ramped up a notch on this final leg of race 6. Maybe a small win, but it's a significant win.
We want to get through tomorrow and take the series into the big breeze that comes on Monday. We need at least one win tomorrow, but we're obviously gunning for 2.
They're just flat beautiful. There's nothing as handsome as half a dozen 12s hard on the wind.
It's pretty unbelievable to see this many boats in one place is remarkable.
It's like sailing a beautiful work of art.
It's a different kind of sailing than what most of us do today.
There are more good sailors here probably sailing the 12s than ever, which means I know I'm getting more out of Courageous than I would have been able to back then. We just know more. The sails are more refined, we're managing the rigs better, trim tabs better, basically just a little bit better all around. The boat's VMG are definitely getting around the course quicker.
Boy, oh boy, the technology is so much better. The sails are better. The equipment's phenomenal, and I think they're significantly faster. I mean, they're phenomenal boats to sail right now.
This is probably the most interdependent sport that I've ever done. So it's great teamwork. The boat's really, really fun to sail.
But overall, it's still a very heavy boat and so very demanding in terms of forestay sag and how much to trim and stuff. So it requires a lot of finesse.
It's an inch on the main sheet, an inch on the Genoa, a little bit on the trim tab. It's just the right balance of all three things together.
The boats that you see today would beat the original boats, each one of them, by a considerable margin.
Oh, I think they're just a blast to sail. They're really loaded boats, and they're big penalties for getting too slow, and you get to sail with 16 of your good friends, so it's a great time.
It's pretty interesting to be in a fleet which is boats are very equal, and there's a lot of good sailors, so I think people enjoy that.
These boats are all similar in speed, and it comes down to crew, how you perform as a team. That's why I love racing these things.
They're fun boats, they're heavy boats, they're not like these things that go 30 miles an hour and you got to hang on for dear life, and that's why everybody seems to love them.
They sail beautifully, it's just they're damn good boats. These are now, in some cases, 40, 50-year-old boats. If you go all the way down to the traditionals, even older.
Getting an opportunity to actually get a sailing team together and go and try out against a bunch of legends in the same waters, it's impossible to say no.
It's a little bit like a 1956 Ferrari. I mean, these things are just so beautiful.
There's nothing like it. The sounds they make, the smell, the feel, it's all visceral. It's a wonderful experience.
It's not a speed thing, it's a power thing. When you get these boats loaded up, it's a great feeling.
There's nothing cooler than seeing these boats cruise around Narragansett Bay.
Probably the most fun of any boat that I've ever sailed.
We've got some very good people, and that's what it takes. We need people that love these boats and want to leave them better than they found them.
It's great to be here at CDK and check on the progress of the new boat that we're affectionately referring to as 11-2. Sometimes we get caught up in the moment, sailing on 11-1, crossing an ocean, all this weather, all these storms, testing systems, and we forget that there's a boat being built here in Brittany, which is great. This is the hull of the boat here in CDK Port La Forêt. The deck is being constructed at CDK in Laurient. When this is done and the deck is done, they'll be moved to the room next door, and you'll see that along with some of the components that we've put our hands on, touched, feel, looked at today. All of that assembly will happen just next door, and the boat will launch actually at a travel lift just around the corner. So keeping it all local here in this part of the world.
We are going to be measuring every step of the build process to understand what the full environmental impacts of the build are. And so we have an intern student from the local university who is working with CDK on recovering that LCA data so that we can get it into the tool and understand what those impacts are. Here we've actually got the materials that are going back to the manufacturers. Maybe we can have a look through the yard and have a look around and see what's going on. But one thing we do notice, obviously there's a lot of plastic here, but they're reusing these bags, and when there's a hole out, when they peel that off and have to put another layer, a couple of layers of carbon down, they're recovering those bags. So we're already reducing a certain amount of waste here. Boat building at this stage is very waste intensive. Even the carbon can be recycled, however, and especially the pre-preg and some of even carbon offcuts can be sent back to the manufacturer. What we need to do is try and get that to a scale which is relevant and valuable enough for those carbon recyclers. And so with CDK, with the other manufacturers, with the IMOCA class and other teams in the area, we're already having these discussions. How can we make this happen? This is one of the autoclaves where they basically put the whole final component and heat it up to a certain temperature, quite a high temperature, It's one of the most energy-intensive processes of modern boat building, and so this is where electricity's consumption and where that electricity comes from has a huge impact. CDK is on a renewable energy tariff, which significantly reduces the overall impact of the company in the process. These are the smaller components that each one needs to be laid up, designed and laid up. And this specific one is the aft escape hatch. And so we, as a campaign, we've done 2 of these. One is the business as usual, this carbon piece, which was a component which was built here at CDK, and we've ordered another one from another company made out of flax. Flax is a material which doesn't have the same properties as carbon, but in some ways it can be comparable for certain components. So what we want to do is compare weight, cost, the environmental impacts to understand where are the trade-offs, and as we look at these components, where can we consider these alternative materials?
2 years ago we started really to have thinkings about how to reduce our impact in terms of waste and everything, and arrival of 11th hour contract boost this action we started 2 years ago, and now we are very well organized, I would say, to select and to recycle, I would say 90-95% of our garbage. 5 years ago we used to put everything in a hole, which is not the best way to do. One point I discovered, and honestly I didn't know it would be like that, is that the more sustainable we are and the less money we spend, which is a big surprise. We started, for example, a new attitude with our main provider of pre-preg, which is Enright in Spain, and we try to initiate a new attitude with them, keeping all the card box, sending back to them, for them to reuse the card box, to send back pre-preg to us. That's in the move, that's happening. But one more time, it's something like 2,000 or 3,000 euros we will not have to spend during the year, which is little by little also. I think it's only important for the future. I'm 60 something now, then I'm quite at the end of my career. Then it's important to leave something for the future generation, for our child. One of the final goals also is to be more sustainable in the reality, not just in the paperwork and the dreams and whatever. It's real stuff. And for me, the important thing also is to have a new image for CDK, stating that this shipyard is concerned, is acting, and that the sustainability is very important for us. And I'm quite sure that the future, in the next years, customer will be sensible to that. I hope so.
I think there's been a lot going on in this event. Frankly, I don't like a lot of what's been going on off the water. I think, frankly, we should just let our actions on the water do the talking. But when you're not invited to the final press conference of the PRADA Cup, which is run by and funded by and won by the PRADA team, I think that's pretty disappointing. I'm not going to say any more about it.
Yeah. So what do you think of that? Well, here is, you can't see it very well, sadly, but this came from the Times of London, courtesy of Alex Hayworth earlier today. The attempt to exclude Sir Ben Ainslie from the final race press conference of the PRADA Cup by the victorious Luna Rossa Prada team spoke volumes about the state of relations between the Italian and the British America's Cup syndicates. The friction between the two is mirrored by the breakdown in communications between Luna Rossa in its role as challenger of record and the America's Cup holder ETNZ. So profound is the fallout that Grant Dalton, the chief executive of TNZ, has no longer been hiding his open support of Ainslie, even signing off an email to the Times a few weeks ago with the message, "Go Ben." And that was forwarded, that's, again, Times of London, forwarded by Alex Arfosi, Alex Hayworth, who I think's a Brit.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's a Brit. And thanks for that. Now, we've been telling you for weeks that this was the case. And, of course, we continue to believe that if the Kiwis win, Sir Ben Ainslie, assuming he's got the backing of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they will continue to, in their pursuit of the Cup, the Brits having not won it for now 170 years, despite repeated attempts. And, you know, the tagline in the UK and is GBR is, well, maybe next time. And I suspect that knowing Sir Ben, as many of you do, and now with Jim Ratcliffe's resources and his determination that he's shown in other sports, Formula One and cycling and so on, wouldn't surprise me at all if they come back, if the Kiwis win, and are more competitive than ever. I'm going to show you an interview with Sir James Ratcliffe that ran on the television during, I think, the night before, on the second to last night of the PRADA Cup. But we're going to run it again because I think, and they've edited it, the team's edited it just a bit to make it a little more relevant to a post-Cup interview. But we'll have a look at that in a sec. Meanwhile, I just want to talk about this press conference stuff for a sec. The tradition, it's not that the Ben was excluded. Now, I wasn't there, so I don't know what really happened. But it's not often that both the winning and losing teams are on the press conference together at the same time, because it's awkward and it's difficult. You don't, when you have a big prize giving in the NFL or NHL or NBA or rugby union or any, you don't have the poor losers out there on the field standing around looking glum and having to watch, and it doesn't happen. You let them go into their locker room and do their thing. Well, normally, and I'm thinking back now to 1983, the press conference, you normally have the losing team on, and they talk and say, well, great job that the other guys did, and we're really sorry we gave it our best, and yada, yada. And then on comes the victorious team, and they have the stage to themselves. That happened in 1983 in the match. I don't remember, frankly, the Louis Vuitton Cup final press conference, but I can tell you that's how it's worked in many of the Challenger Selection Series press conferences, as well as in many of the America's Cup match press conferences. In fact, the one time where they were both on the stage together that I can remember, and Julia, maybe you remember as well, was 1988, the Deed of Gift match, and I was running that. And so we have the final press conference. Bruno's there he's running it on behalf of Louis Vuitton, and he's emceeing it. And we had both of the big boat, meaning Sir Michael Fay's team, and Dennis Connor's team, and DC and his guys had a pop or two, John Marshall. And they were both on the stage at opposite ends of the dais for this press conference. And my mom and dad were out there watching. They'd come out from Michigan to San Diego to see this thing. I said, watch this, Mom. They're going to bury the hatchet. You're going to see sportsmanship break out. You know, I went to a hockey game and saw a fight break out. Well, we went to this press conference and literally saw a fight break out. It was rough and tumble. So you don't need to force the confrontation. Now, I don't know what happened down there. Ultimately, Ben did go into that press conference. The whole press conference was pretty soft shoe. It was okay. But I know when we won in Valencia 2010, Jane Eagleson, I was talking to Jane about this over the weekend. We went to the press conference. Alinghi did their thing, and they were very gracious. Ernesto Bertarelli and his team, Brad Butterworth and so on, and then they cleared off the stage, and Larry and Jimmy and Russell and J.K. went on the stage in their white foul weather gear, and were magnanimous and victorious and a little, and then you go off and have the big prize giving. And, you know, it's just, so I don't know what was going on, and I'm sorry the Times of London had this view, and I'm sorry Ben felt the way he did. Somebody obviously was not communicating very well. And notwithstanding, it has been ugly. I've been telling you that for weeks, that there is no love lost between the defender and the challenger of record over money, over rules, over television, over everything. And that's going to make the next couple of weeks pretty interesting.
Look, the team's mindset at the moment is very much, going from a development phase into a race phase. We've done a huge amount of development work over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, and it feels like now, you know, the full team is really gearing up for race mode. We're very excited about that, and absolutely looking forward to getting the boat out there and actually racing another boat around the race course. There's still quite a lot of work to be done, you know, between now and March 6th. This last sort of few months has very much been up and down with sort of quite a few uncertainties, but one thing is certain, that there will be a race fairly shortly, and the winner of that will hold the America's Cup, so hopefully that'll be us.
It's incredibly exciting, you know, it's just 2.5 weeks till we start racing. We're out there racing the coach boat, so we're trying to take on Ray Davies with his horsepower. So that's sort of a shift from focusing on the foil development, the rigs and the sails. It's been great to see everyone out there supporting the PRADA Cup, and we can't wait to have that support come the America's Cup. Really, really excited.
Incredibly exciting to finally actually know who we are getting to race. You know, at the beginning of the Challengers Series, we genuinely had no idea who it would be. You know, all three of the teams put together, you know, pretty amazing campaigns, and you know, looking at American Magic at the start of it, and then you know, seeing how much INEOS improved, and you know, for PRADA to come out on top, you know, we've really got ourselves a one worthy challenger. Obviously, the defenders of the America's Cup, but you know, in saying that, you can't be in too much of a defensive mindset in these campaigns. You know, everyone's taking a lot of risk across the board, you know, with pushing the development, pushing the R&D, and you know, I think you just have to look to at our boat as to how hard we have pushed in a lot of areas, and you know, we're incredibly excited by the package that us as a team have come up with, and been concentrating on making sure our boat is going as fast as we can, and we're manoeuvrable as we can be. You know, as an athlete, you always want that opportunity to test your skills against the best people in the world, which I think we've really got here. But also to be able to compete on home waters, and I think we all have memories of the Cup that was here in 2000. And just seeing how many Kiwis were out supporting. It's been absolutely mind-blowing seeing how many Kiwis have been getting out with boats. And really getting to know yachting, and getting to know terminology, and it's something that we're just super excited about the days ahead, and really grateful for everyone doing their part to make that happen.
Yeah, magical day out there. It was some pretty strong winds, which meant the boat was flying. So to see that up close and in person, and the chase boat was awesome. We've obviously been following the PRADA Cup and even the racing before Christmas, but to be actually out on the water on a chase boat, to see these boats, and what they're able to do, the manoeuvres, the speeds they're able to get to, it was mind-blowing. To get live and up and close to the action was so impressive, and I just can't wait for the Cup to start. Some extra excitement, and it's going to be a great series. Yeah, this retirement life's not too bad actually. Week 1, and I'm on the chase boat, Emirates Team New Zealand, so it's a dream result. Even got a little look around the boat, and had about a 10-minute spin on the grinder, and I think it won't be my next career choice for sure. I was 10 seconds of that, and I was absolutely blowing. Is there anything I can do to help? I'm kind of looking to see exactly what their next career path is, and if it means helping tie up the chase boat, then I'm happy to help.